This morning I'm going to take a quick look, or maybe not quite so quick, but look at this front axle for my customer Sean's 5500 series Dodge, obviously four-wheel drive. The ask was, he discovered that the pinion bearings were loose on it, and then could I fix it? And I told him I'd be interested. I would do the job for you, but you're going to have to bring it to me. I'm not going to do it in the chassis, and I'm glad I did. So he did. He brought it, took it out and brought it down. And it was the right move. It's big and pieces are heavy. I would have struggled doing this in the chassis. So that's what ended up happening here is a lot of research was part of this equation because, like I said, this is a Magna Steyr 275 and 275 millimeter ring gear. Turns out that's what that's referencing. So that turns out to be 10 and 13/16. So it's a pretty good size ring gear. It's got some cool features to it, but one of the features that wasn't so cool was this isn't very well supported in the aftermarket or even by the manufacturer at this point in the game. Parts weren't forthcoming. I have a guy that I've always traditionally used for sourcing parts for me, and he came up dry. I ended up chasing down about a zillion just leads on the internet, the people that say they have stuff and don't really have it, to get a bearing kit for this. And I got to give a shout out to Sadler Truck Equipment in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. They are no joke. They had the stuff. They supplied us with quality components to fix this thing. Here's the box right here. Yeah, no, I don't have it right when I need it, of course. Anyways, Sadler Truck Equipment, hats off to you guys. You had the stuff, and they said they get a lot of calls about these things that people in the same boat as I was, looking for parts that nobody actually seems to have except them. So, big end bearing on the carrier is this guy. That's a good size bearing. It's probably not twice the size, but that's the small end bearing on the carrier. That's a little unique. This axle has baffles in the tubes. It's almost like a scrubber or a windage tray in a crankcase to control the oil and keep it in the differential case itself. The axle seals, and the reason is the axle seals are out here, not where they are traditionally, like on a Dana axle in there. So the pinion bearings are both the same size. They were loose. You can see they are worn, but not turned blue or abused. This truck has 245,000 miles on it, Sean told me, so it's been on the job. It's done its work. It was just loose and needed to be rebearing, so that's what we did. I took it all apart, cleaned it all up, clean. Got the bearings from Sadler after many false starts, and couldn't be happier with them. I'll mention them again, Sadler Truck Equipment. If you're in this same situation, call them. You can see how clean it is. I cleaned that all up, cleaned the axles up. One of the other things that this thing has is renewable wear sleeves that ride right behind the yoke part on the axle, on the inner axle. And that corresponds with the axle seal, which also lives out here. It goes that way. These seals are a multi-piece seal. Their weak spot is there is a little garter spring right there. That one's no longer on there. Yeah, it's knocked off. I did discover that it is hideously easy to knock those off. And so I packed the back side of that and made a driver to put them in gently. And I supported the long side, both sides with the crane when I slid the axles in to engage them into the differential, so I didn't flex the rubber element too much, and pretty much had a straight shot stuffing them in to make sure that the spring did not get displaced. We'll take a look at the back side. I have the wheel speed sensor on. I stuff earplugs in there to keep the grit out while it's being transported back. Spanner for the drive flange that I made to grab hold of it so I could torque it. That turned out to be an 1" 15/16 chrome socket I picked up to deal with that nut. I had 1" 15/16 impact socket, but it wasn't going to fit in there, and it was a 6-pointer, so Sometimes you just have to adapt. So that pretty much wraps this up. We're gonna say that this is a win for Sean's 5500. We got it rebearinged, and I'm gonna put the cover on that. And one more shout out to Sadler Truck Equipment. Those guys are good guys. Give them a call if you're in this situation.